Hello everyone, Jeremy here, and I just wanted to do a follow-up on the Sony QX lens camera because the app Camera360 was recently updated to support the QX10 and the QX100. Now if you remember way back in the beginning, a couple of months ago, when the QX10 and QX100 were released, the only way that you can use a viewfinder with these cameras, since they have no screen, is by using the Play Memories mobile application provided by Sony. Now the problem was, for iOS, the app was absolutely horrible. It was not consistent in its connection. It was a lot of lag. And those are just the technical issues, not to mention the fact that it had very little manual controls. You couldn't control ISO. On the QX10, you couldn't control the aperture. And it was just something that absolutely ruined the experience with these cameras. But since then, there's been a couple of updates to Play Memories Mobile, and it has improved the stability of these of the QX10 and QX100 when used on iOS devices. And now Camera360, after being the first third-party developer to openly support the QX cameras, they finally released their iOS update for their app to support the QX cameras, and it's bad. It's actually quite bad. At this time, Sony's Play Memories application remains the best way to use these lens cameras, and that's actually quite sad. I was expecting so much more from Camera360. So let me just show you how the app is. So I got the camera on. It's connected to my iPhone via Wi-Fi. This is the Camera360 app, and for some reason I must have turned it to black and white. Let's just put it back in normal view. I don't know how to do that, so we're just going to put it on magic skin just so we can get some color. So when you want to actually use the QX camera, you simply go into the menu, and there's a little icon here that says Sony. So you click on that. It tells you everything that you have to do to actually start connecting the app. So you just hit connect after it's already connected to your phone, and you see it says that connection failed. Even though if we pop into the settings, you can see that I am connected to the camera. So we have to try it a second time. Connection failed again. Try it a third time. And we have luck. Now notice how this picture is horribly stretched out. It's a bit of an orientation problem. And one way that I've learned to fix it is if you try to excuse me, if you try to rotate your phone, it's not going to really do much of anything. It just slightly crops in and slightly crops out. I'm guessing if you turn the camera and the phone and just try to do it somewhat in unison, or just try to get it at a certain angle, it will eventually be of the right orientation. So as you can see here, I have no idea what I did to actually make that happen, but I did make that happen. So here's the lens camera. You see as I'm moving it, as far as the actual pace goes, it is keeping up. Now apologies for the backlit situation that's making all these minifigures in the phone show up as being quite dark. But here's part of the issue. First, let me connect the camera to the phone, physically connected, using the clamps on the lens camera. So here we have this here. Now, as you know, you can zoom in and out with the QX10 using the zoom toggle that's on the left side. So if you just were to zoom in on these minifigures, you see how blurry they are. Even though they're backlit, but they're still quite blurry. Normally in this situation, you would tap the screen to get it to focus. But you can't do that with the Camera360 update. There is no tap to focus. And if I wanted to zoom in using these on-screen commands, let's just try that. and it says that the connection had failed. And all I tried to do was zoom in using the virtual buttons, and it failed. So we are going to force the app closed, and we're going to go right back into it. Go back to the Sony cameras, go to connect, and we're back to that weird orientation, and now it's fixed again. So that's one thing that we can't do. We cannot use these zoom toggles, virtual zoom toggles. Here's the other issue. Let's just get a little bit closer. We'll zoom in on one that's not so backlit. Now, if I press the shutter button on the actual camera in an attempt to focus, let me zoom back a little bit. And we take the picture. You see everything temporarily slows down, but where's the picture? Don't know where it is. Picture's not on here. Now this is a picture that I took earlier. We'll get to that in a minute. But if you press the actual shutter button on the camera, you don't know where your picture is because it's not in the camera roll. But if I use the actual virtual shutter button, data copying, please wait. Connection has been lost, and then it comes right back, and then it shows me. Can I get it landscape? No. So then it shows me the picture that I took, and then, whoops, at that point, you're able to apply different filters and stuff, you know, and you can do that if you want. Sexy lips, sweet, sunshine. I'm just going to keep it on sunshine. We're just going to do that. And from there, we're just going to hit save. And then that's when it's going to show up inside of the app. But it's still not in the camera roll. I'm just going to go to my camera roll now. And as you can see, here are some pictures of a cat. And the picture that I just took of those Legos, they're not there. Today is Wednesday, and it's not there. But here's the other thing. If I go back into the app, and I go to export, and I just say high definition, it processes, and then at that point, I can go back into my photos and my camera roll, and there it is. Way too many steps that you have to do in order to get your pictures to show up in the camera roll. I mean, the whole point of the lens cameras in general is to be able to take a picture, have it saved to your phone, and share that picture instantly. But you see how many steps I had to go through just to get it on my camera roll. Now, granted, I could share it from right here in the app, but I don't know why it just doesn't go straight to the camera roll. Seems a bit silly to me. Another thing that you can't do is video. There's absolutely no option to record video. I can go to video here, but it just says, hey, download Movie 360. I'm not going to do that, because I'm using Camera360. That's the app that supports Play Memories Mobile. And there's no way to record video in the iOS version. Can't speak for the Android version, but the iOS version, no video. So what we have here is no tap to focus. You break the app if you try to zoom in or out using the virtual buttons. It does not save the picture to the application or to your phone if you use the camera's shutter button and not the app's shutter button. And it takes a couple of steps to get it in your camera roll. At this point, I would like to say that the Camera360 application update to support the Sony QX10 and QX100 is an absolute abysmal failure. Been waiting a while for this, and it's just not good. Now, I'm just going to jump back into the Play Memories mobile application. And you see how that connects. Overall, even though the Sony app was always pretty bad, it's so much better than Camera360, which is a shame, because I really didn't think it was going to be that way. And I'm just taking a picture, hit the shutter button, and you know, that's the result. Again, it's backlit, but you get the point, and you also get to tap to focus. Something that Camera360 doesn't let you do. Now, I have no idea if this was an iOS limitation or what, but my advice still stands. If you're thinking about getting a QX camera, QX10 or QX100, and you have an iOS device, I urge you, it's probably a good idea to not do that. Because the app support, third party, first party, is just bad. It was bad from the beginning, and it's still bad now. So overall, these are still very unique cameras, neat alternatives to traditional point and shoot and smartphone cameras, but they are just absolutely bogged down by bad software applications. And I hope that that's not the legacy of these cameras, something that could have been good but destroyed by bad software. So that's my update on the Sony QX10. Hopefully I'll have more, or hopefully I'll have good news about it sometime in the future, but I don't know, we'll see. So thanks for watching. Till next time, I'm Jeremy. See you later.